where the city meets the farm, the Great Rice County Fair. We'll see you there.
It's Rice County Fair Talk out of Minnesota with John Dvorak of the Rice County Fair. Fair Talk is brought to you by Tim's Trucking, Rice County Mutual, Monte Creasy Electric, Towns Lock and Key, Keller Insurance Agency, Dr. David Garley, State Bank of Faribault, Faribault Foods, and the IBEW Local Union 110. Now here's your host, Jerry Groskretuz.
And oh boy, it's time for Fair Talk again. John Dvorak in studio 3 weeks from today. We'll be out at the Rice County Fair. Here we go.
Here we go. That's right. It's coming upon us fast, quick.
Do you have the seed planted yet? So it'll germinate here pretty soon?
It's planted, and it's busting out you can just see it crowning.
Oh, boy. And it's high gear pretty soon.
It'd be high gear, and but things are coming along good. We're as ready as we're going to be, and just got a few odds and ends to finish up, and we'll be here. And
speaking of odds and ends to finish up, I'm going to get this in because Kathy Kapp doesn't know it yet, but she asked me to mention they still need some more candidates for Rice County Fair. Queen and the Fee is a cherry pie.
Is that right?
Yeah, I heard that Kathy was going to bake me a cherry pie for making sure I mentioned that on today's program. If you play your cards right, you might get a piece. But all kidding aside, I know last time I heard we had 3 or 4, and nice to have a few more.
That's right. So, here's your opportunity, and it'd be a great opportunity. It's a well worth program, and it's a lot of fun, and it's you learn a lot, and
and there's some scholarship money involved too, if I'm not mistaken, from
right.
someone that wanted to do something to help young kids.
That's exactly right. So there'll be scholarships available for the winners, and just the experience itself, it's a great opportunity to come and be able to participate in a queen pageant and
ride in a few parades throughout the next summer and the rest of this summer.
Yeah, so if you got time and you're interested, you can call the fair office or get a hold of Kathy Kapp or call Jerry at the radio station here, and one way or another we'll get you in touch of who you need to be and where you need to be, and it's a lot of fun, and take advantage of it.
Because we have Chris Paschke hard at work at the fair office every day now.
That's right. She's there 4 days a week. She's there Monday through Thursday, and she works so well that I can't find nothing for her to do on Friday, so I do Fridays off.
But it's nice that she's been involved in the fair for a number of years, too, so she knows how things are done.
That's right, and she does a great job at her job, and she's a big help to me and the fair, and it would definitely be very, very difficult to run the fair for me without her, because
we all know that Chris really is the one that runs the fair. You're just the front person.
That's right.
The one that has to go and talk to Jerry every once in a while.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we should mention, too, after the marker break, Dustin Grice is going to join us. How's the best way to describe that grandstand event? The crazy bike riders? How does that sound?
Yeah.
Do not try this
the
at home.
Daredevils or whatever. But, it's something that's new at the fair this year. It's we're going to try it, and we wanted to try something new, and I think it's going to be a great event. And, these guys will come with their bikes, and they'll ride up and down all these ramps and do flips and spins, and when I look at them and I think about hitting that ground, I tell myself it's awful hard. So I don't think
that's for the younger kids to do.
Yeah, it's definitely not for this man.
That'll be fun. I've never seen anything like that. What night is that in the
It'll be Wednesday.
2017. John Dvorak is in studio, and Dustin Grice is on the line. Well, Dustin, I understand that you are going to be performing on Wednesday evening at the Rice County Fair. John described it just a little bit before the break, but I gave it a new nickname, the Crazy Bike Riders. Does that kind of describe what you do?
I can't, I have been called that in the past, so that would be correct.
So tell us more about exactly what the performance is like and how many people are involved and kind of what you do. This is something new that I've never seen before.
Yeah, no, we're very excited to be down in Faribault, and it's interesting because about 7 years ago, we actually started our own indoor BMX facility in Minneapolis, and it's basically an indoor training facility that's open actually 24 hours a day. We run it kind of like a 24-hour fitness, and so it's a place where riders and kids and families can go at any time and learn to ride BMX. And so after a couple of years of doing that, we realized, man, not only do we need help basically funding this facility, but we have some very incredibly talented riders. And so after doing shows for about 10 years, we decided it's time to create our own show. And so that kind of gave us the freedom to really do anything we'd like in our own show. And so we've created the show now over the last probably 6 years now, going to different fairs and festivals really all over the state. We've been out of state as well, kind of on the other side of the country a handful of times. And but yeah, our main fairs, our main festivals and events are right here in Minnesota. And actually one of the riders, I would say one of the legends in our sport, is actually from Faribault. Jay Schlee is the name. I don't know if you've heard of Jay Schlee, but he's actually, I've always known about Faribault. And actually there's a park down there too. Faribault's got the BMX track down there too.
Yes. Well, John, how did you find out about Dustin and this performance? They've only been doing it for, you mentioned, 5 or 6 years. How did you find out about it?
He had a booth at the Minnesota Federation of County Fairs convention back in January, and we talked to him at the convention back in January.
I'm trying to envision what this performance is going to look like, Dustin, and what's coming to my mind first is a couple times I've been on TV just channel surfing, and there was these young kids, guys and gals, using skateboards. And they'd be going up and down these ramps, and then they'd be going down this ramp, and then they'd grab the skateboard, and then they'd be riding that skateboard down like a railing and getting to the bottom, doing all those kinds of stunts and things. Is that kind of what you guys do, only you're on bikes?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. It is action sports. It's kind of all the same family, whether you're on BMX or skateboards or any other type of anything with wheels, really. And however, our show, so the skateboarders, their world is kind of more on the stair sets and the railings and stuff. BMX has kind of a whole other side. The stunt show side of BMX is basically one big ramp, and you pedal as fast as you can at this ramp, and you just launch yourself into the air. And so that's kind of where the show starts, and then from there it just kind of evolves throughout the hour, however long the show is, and we gradually start introducing new tricks and kind of teaching the crowd about what we do, and then which eventually leads up into the big backflip at the end.
Have you been riding a bike and BMX and doing these stunts from when you were fairly young then? It's kind of your passion in life?
Yeah, I would, it's interesting. At age 3 years old, I got my first bike. It was actually in Buffalo, New York. We were there for a few years, and it was a pink girl's bike. So we painted it black because obviously I didn't want a pink bike. And I was apparently stubborn at the time, and I didn't want training wheels. 3 years old, I'd never ridden a bike before, and I did not want training wheels. So we took the training wheels off, and I'm riding around the neighborhood street there, and I crossed the street, and all of a sudden, bam! I hit a mailbox. I clotheslined by a mailbox at 3 years old. And so that was my first ever experience on a bike. And, fast forward 20, 30 years later, I'm still on that bike, still crashing, and really traveling the world with my bike. So it turned into a dream come true, really.
Are you still running into mailboxes?
We could get a
may or may not be running into mailboxes still.
Well, I'd volunteer to put one up at the Rice County Fair if you'd like, just to make you bring back fond memories, Dustin.
Hey, that would be pretty good.
No, maybe we could get you to jump over a mailbox and show how far you progressed since the time you were 3 years old.
That would work. John, I'm actually going to send you a link to. There's actually a video of me hitting this mailbox, and I will, because my dad actually works in the video industry, and so we always had video cameras and stuff growing up. But there's actually footage of me slamming into this mailbox. I'm going to send you. It's on YouTube. I'll send you the link.
Then, being as how we know Tara Langevin, who's on the Rice County Fair, Tara can put that up on the Rice County Fair website. Put a link to it. How's that?
Oh gosh! Oh my!
A couple of questions. Do you have some girls that are really into BMX riding too, or is it mostly guys?
It is. There are some for sure. It's definitely a sport where there are a lot of guys, but we've had a handful at our warehouse coming out and jumping into the foam pit, and they're definitely out there for sure. And I think it'd be incredible to down the road eventually have a girl that actually participates in the show as well. And I know of some that ride in some shows out of state, but here locally, I think we're still working on that.
Now, the bikes for BMX riding, they're into local bike that we'd go to the hardware store and buy, are they? Or are they just ordinary bikes?
Yeah, they're definitely higher end, custom built bikes. They can get very expensive very fast, and one of the bigger things over the last 10 years is a lot of companies have started looking at the weight of the bikes and just dramatically dropping the weight. So a lot of these tricks become a lot easier. You can ride longer. It's like when you get a lot of that weight down, it definitely changes how you can actually ride.
Once you try and do a stunt for the first time, are you a little bit scared, or do you say nothing worse? It can't be as bad as clotheslining a mailbox, so I'm okay. I survived that.
You just won't let that one go now.
Nope. Nope. You're marked for life now.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was young, I've been riding BMX for, I would say, right around 20 years now, and I've performed at the Minnesota State Fair for 15, so that gives you a little idea there. But rewind 20 years ago and learning your first tricks. We would just build little dirt jumps out in either the backyard or in the woods somewhere, and you'd learn to basically just jump. And then after a while, once you're comfortable jumping, you try and take your hand or your foot and just kind of kick it off to the side, and that's kind of your first trick. Or maybe you're gonna pedal in the air. We call that one the E.T. because it's like the movie of E.T. when he's pedaling up towards the moon. And so those are kind of basic first tricks. However, when you're starting to learn some of the bigger tricks or the backflips and stuff like that, today everyone uses foam pits. And so you have a big jump that's into a big box of foam. And that was the reason we actually started our facility, so that we could have more training tools and softer landings and stuff to learn a lot of this stuff locally. Because before that, you would have to go not only out of state, you'd have to go to the other side of the country. I had to go to Pennsylvania when I was younger. That was one of the first bike camps in the country. And, I had my job at Dairy Queen in Eden Prairie working for $6 an hour, and I saved my money for bike camp each summer. And that's really where I learned a lot of my big tricks. That's where I learned my back flips, front flips, all that stuff years ago. But now people can actually learn it locally right here in Minneapolis.
Because the first time you try a new trick, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to pull it off and you're going to have a good landing, right?
Oh, no. Yep. There's times where you'll spend months and months trying to learn a trick. And some may come in a day or an hour or first try, but some you got to work for. You got to work for real hard.
What sort of safety precautions do you take? You mentioned that when you're learning a new trick, then you have the big foam thing that you can fall into. Is that kind of the only safety precautions or the procedures?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely all wear helmets. I mean, helmets are number one. Outside of that, a lot of riders wear knee pads and shin guards and ankle braces. Those are real common. Some wear elbow pads, and those are kind of your main, I guess, safety gear that riders would wear. Outside of that, I mean, you got the foam pits and the padded landings for actually learning tricks. And then I would say ibuprofen, right?
I caught that. How about you, John? Did you catch what he meant there?
I catch what he meant, and if I would do it, I would guarantee you I'd have to invest in some bubble wrap, and I would wrap myself in bubble wrap.
Yep, bubble wrap is definitely a must. Bubble wrap and ibuprofen.
I think we should actually have John, the manager, not try and do a stunt. I would be impressed if he could just ride in a nice flat level surface a BMX bike from one end of the area to the other. I'd be impressed with that.
Well, I would too.
I'm actually writing that into the show script right now.
Okay, good.
Thanks a lot.
Far be it from me to stir the pot, Dustin.
So, Dustin, during the show, so what's the age limit? What can the audience expect to see? I mean, are they, individuals in their teens? Do you have preteens? I mean, do you have 5 or 6 year olds doing it? What's the age limit on it?
Yep. That's kind of the interesting part about our sport. The ages are all over the place. And we've seen, actually, the oldest rider we've ever seen. Actually, I'm going to start with the youngest, because we've got a handful of kids that have started coming out to our facility, and the youngest we've actually seen in any show was 6 years old. And so the ramp is twice as tall as him, and he's pedaling as fast as he can. His little legs just cranking those pedals, and he jumps the ramp with the rest of the guys. And so that would be the youngest, and and now he's about 8 years old. We've got a handful of 10, 11-year-olds, 12, 13. Then you get up into like the 15, 16-year-olds and 18, 19, 20. I mean, they're kind of all over the place. And then
keep going. You haven't got to John's age yet. Keep going.
I'm working there. We're getting there. We're saving the best for last. And then you kind of get into the riders who've been around for 10, 15, 20 years, and then, eventually I fit into that. I'm 31 years old and still riding these little kids' bikes, and it's been one of the greatest part of life. But so I'm already in my 30s still doing these shows, and there's even riders here locally that were part of, I'd say, the generation before me, and possibly even the generation before them, where you get into a few guys in their 40s, and now there's even a rider who is in his 50s who has, get this, who's even backflipped in one of our shows. We even did a show where we had the oldest rider, 50 years old, all the way down to the youngest rider, about 10 years old, both flip in the same show. Wow.
Say, Dustin, can you stand by? We have to take another break to hear from some of our sponsors, and then can you come back?
Of course.
Stand by. We have to take a break. Welcome back to today's AM Minnesota program. Dustin, you almost got me in trouble. Do you know how?
Uh-oh.
Yep, it was so much fun visiting with you and the history of BMX bike riding, and I almost forgot to take that second break. So it was all but we only have about 3 minutes left. One question occurred to me when we had the break. Are you married? If you are, what does your wife think about you doing that? And how much life insurance do you have? And what are the rates?
No, and no. That's true.
We only got a short time here, Dustin, but, I think we're really looking forward to having this event at the fairgrounds this year and you being part of the Rice County Fair. And, I'm sure that people are going to come out and enjoy what they're going to see, and you're going to put on a great show for them. And this is something new that is relatively new to Faribault. So, we're really counting on you coming in.
And John, during the program, or Dustin, do you have someone like announcing, explaining, telling a little bit about the riders and what tricks they're doing too, so we can learn more about the sport at the same time?
Oh, of course. Yep, we'll have an MC down there. We'll have music playing. We'll have a lot going on, and then afterwards, everyone can come down and actually meet. We actually do a meet and greet with all the riders. So
Cool.
We've got autograph cards and everything for all the spectators. So we're very excited for this one, and definitely looking forward to being down there.
Well, we're looking forward to having you here at the Rice County Fair also, Dustin. And, I'm sure that the people that come out to watch it, it's going to be a great show, and they're really going to enjoy themselves.
I'm looking forward to it. And it's a good thing I know the Rice County Fair manager, so maybe he'll give me a grandstand ticket. And then Dustin will give me an autograph.
I can't wait to see him on a bike mid-show.
Does that bike have 3 wheels?
Do you have the training wheels that you can put on one, Dustin?
Sure, we can come up with something.
Well, Dustin, looking forward to seeing you the Wednesday evening of the Rice County Fair. Thanks for the fun interview.
Yes, great meeting you guys. Have a great week, guys.
Thank you much.
Dustin Grice with BMX. What is the show officially called?
It's Minnesota Pro Dirt Jam is what it's officially called. And
I think just crazy bike riders is a little easier to say.
Probably so. And, it's a new event. Paid admission is going to be $5 a ticket to come in and see it.
I could almost afford that even if I couldn't mooch a ticket off of you.
Right, so I think it's going to be a great family entertainment, and hopefully, there's some people that are interested in the sport, and they'll be able to come out and really see what it's all about. And
see some professionals, because I remember seeing those signs. I've never gone there, but we do have that BMX track, so the bike track, so there is some interest here in Faribault, too, besides.
That's right. So looking forward to it.
Thanks, John. Next week, Fair Talk moves to Thursday because Tuesday's the 4th of July.
Yeah, exactly.